getting the opportunity to be there even more because marriage is of the utmost importance on God's program. That's one of the things that He really, really honored and gave great, great amount of respect simply because He styled the church as a marriage. He said, I'm coming back after my bride. Hallelujah. So we have to understand and to know that God has the utmost respect for marriage. Now I'm going to say to you before we get started, I don't know if anybody's still a little cold, but I'm running a little warm. It might be because of the way I'm dressed, but I am running a little warm. So you can go ahead on, and if you haven't cut the heat off, you can, just kind of cut that. Amen. But I want to continue talking to you this morning along the lines of washing your nets to get ready for a catch. And I want to use for a subtopic this morning, nevertheless. Turn to somebody real quick and look at them in the face and tell them, say, nevertheless. Hallelujah. Nevertheless. Sometimes we got to do things nevertheless. Sometimes we got to move nevertheless. Sometimes everything don't line up the way you think it ought to, but nevertheless. Hallelujah. So if you would, we're going to use the scriptures that we used on last week. I'm going to go ahead and go up, but we want to use the same scriptures that we used on last week. St. Luke, the 5th chapter, 1st through the 7th verse. St. Luke, the 5th chapter, 1st through the 7th verse. And I'll be reading from the King James Version. And I just want to read through them real quickly because we read it on last week. I'm going to drop down to the 2nd verse. And he saw two fishermen, and he saw two ships standing by the lake. But the fishermen was gone out of them and was washing their nets. And he entered into one of the ships, which was Simon's, and prayed him that he would thrust out a little from the land. And he sat down and taught the people out of the ship. Now when he had left speaking, he said unto Simon, launch out into the deep and let down your nets for a draught. And Simon answered, saying unto him, Master, we have toiled all night and have taken nothing. But then he said, nevertheless. Somebody say nevertheless. At thy word, I will let down the net. Now I want you to look at it. I want you to look at the terminology that Simon is using and the terminology that Jesus is using. Jesus said, let down your nets for a draught. And Simon said, nevertheless, at thy word, I will let down the net. Anybody get that? One has an S and one does not. Okay? And when they had thus done, they enclosed a great multitude of fishes, and their net break. Their net break. And they beckoned unto their partners, which were in the other ship, that they should come and help them. They came filled both the ships so that they began to sink. Ship, sinking, blessing. They filled the ship so that they began to sink. I want to, if you would, focus on the latter part of the 5th verse, where it says, nevertheless, at thy word, I will let down the net. Okay? And let's slip back up to the second one, and it says, and they was washing their net. Now, they was washing their nets, and when we look at this, we see that basically they had quit for that night. This night is over. They had given up. They had quit. They had made a decision that we're going to go on and we're going to let this night kind of get out of our system because we have done nothing. We have accomplished nothing. We have worked all night and have accomplished nothing. Peter said, we have toiled all night and have taken nothing. Have you ever given up, worked hard on something, put all of your heart into it, and got very little or no return? But Peter said they caught nothing. So in other words, they worked hard all night long and didn't catch nothing but a whole lot of trash and messed up their nets. Because the Bible said they was washing and mending their nets. So whatever they caught messed up their net. And they didn't catch nothing of value. Because Peter said, we haven't caught anything. We've caught nothing. How many know nothing mean nothing? Anybody remember that song that said, nothing from nothing, leave nothing? So in other words, Peter was singing that song. Look, Jesus, we ain't caught nothing. So let's just forget about this. And we're going to move on. And we're going to throw in the towel on this day. And we're going to get ready for another day. But right now, we're just going to throw in the towel on this. So they were washing their nets because they had gave up. Now, I don't know what you've gone through and what have made you throw in the towel. What have made you give up? What have you encountered in life that you have said, oh, well, maybe this wasn't for me? And we ever did that? Oh, well, I guess that wasn't for me. It wasn't for me to pass that test. It wasn't for me to get through this situation. Oh, Lord, I dumped all of my money into that business, and now I'm broke. Had 5 bankruptcy. It broke me down. Gave up. Quit. Because we do not like to continue to go through disappointment. We're not like that. You go from bank to bank to bank. Maybe you done went to 5 banks. And your projection plan is, you thought it was the best. But the banks say, we can't help you. And you've been turned down 5 times. And then finally you say, well, maybe this right here is not for me. And you throw in the towel. You quit. You give up. You give up. You say, I'm coming up empty. I know it's a great plan, but maybe it's not my plan. for me. Maybe God got something else in store for me. Somebody else can take it and run with it, but this is not my plan for me. So maybe I need to think about doing something different, doing something else. So what they decided to do, they didn't quit working now. That's what I like about it. They didn't quit working. They didn't quit working. They gave up, but they didn't quit working. So what they did was they started washing their nets, getting prepared for another day, another time, another season. What we have to understand and what we have to know, that when we throw in the towel on one thing, start getting prepared, and don't quit working for something else. You might not know what else you're getting prepared for, but start getting prepared. Don't quit working. Don't quit working. Look at somebody and tell them, say, don't quit working. What you're doing might not be working for you, but don't quit working. Maybe it's just not working at this time, in this season. Because sometimes we can have the seasons wrong. Sometimes we can be off with the timing. And God will be telling you, no, your mind ain't quite together. So I'm not going to bless you right now because you're not prepared in your mind. There's still some more preparations that need to be taking place. So what he does is he make you to where you give up right now, but I'm going to keep preparing. I'm going to keep on working, because if I keep on working, then it's going to help me to get prepared for the next move, for what's next in my life, what's coming next. So it's the downtime is really preparation time. That's your preparation season. Washing your nets is your preparation season. So maybe it didn't work for you, but just tweak it a little bit. Maybe you got some things on there that need to be mended. Or maybe there's some trash in there that needs to be taken out. Take out the trash. Mend the net. I know you worked hard, but take out the trash and mend the net. And keep on working. Keep on getting prepared. And let the devil know that I'm not giving up on the plan, but I'm giving up on this time, this season, because something about this ain't right. Something about this ain't right. And I'm going to tell you why. That you don't need to give up on the plan. I'm going to deal with that later, okay? I'm going to deal with that later. But sometime, God be wanting to help us to really get prepared for what's about to happen. To really get prepared for what's about to happen. Because like I forestated on last week, if he pour it out before time, sometimes you're wasted. If he pour it out before you are prepared in every area, you throw it away. I guarantee you, I'm going to go with a high percentage, over 90% of us in here that plays the lottery. If you win big on the lottery, you win thousands of dollars. With the mindset you got right now, you're going to do some crazy things. You're not going to think about saving because you think you got way too much already. Because your mindset is not on saving. Your mindset is on whatever I get, I need to spend it. Because I got a lot of things that I want. and we let our wants outweigh our needs. And now we got the money to get our wants. And what we have to understand is our wants are always deep. Wants run real deep. It far outweigh the needs. I need a house, but I want a mansion. I want 10 bedrooms, but I only need 3. You see how your wants outweigh your needs? I really don't need but 1 living area because it's just the 2 of us. But I want 3 living areas. Your wants likes to show off. Your needs just want to survive and make it and be comfortable. But your wants is a show off. I oftentimes tell my kids, I say, as soon as all y'all leave the house, your mother and I, we're going to get us a 1-bedroom apartment. And whenever y'all come to town, we're going to get y'all a hotel. Because there ain't going to be no room at the house. Because we will no longer have a need for a 5-6-bedroom house. For us to have to clean up, to keep clean, to maintain. Why? It's a need that we don't need. It's a want that we don't need. It's a desire that there's no need for. How many times have your wants really caused you to throw in the towel? It's not the need that caused you to throw in the towel. A lot of times it's the wants because it's not big enough. It's not nice enough. It's not pretty enough. It's not going to really show off what I want to show off. Okay? So therefore, it causes us to quit. It's not that God wasn't blessing you, but you wasn't getting what you thought you should have gotten. It wasn't because God wasn't speaking, just you wasn't hearing. Now, we have to realize that Peter gave up, but he kept on working. But in the working, he displayed the fact that he did have some faith. When you're working, you are displaying, even though you don't give up on one end, but you're still displaying that I still have faith. I didn't give up on everything. I came out of it with something still intact. I might have came out of it and lost my pride, lost a little dignity, but I still got my faith. Look at somebody and tell them, I still got my faith. You know, even though it might not look like it, but I still got my faith. Even though sometime God will have you to do some things that don't make no sense. Because Jesus told him, say, Simon, launch out into the deep and let down your net. Peter was a professional fisherman. I want y'all to hear this. Peter was a professional fisherman. This is what he did. It's about like me going over to Trey and tell him, say, hey, now I'm a truck driver. He's a musician. But I'm telling him, hey, play this key right here, this key. Play C. He just playing. Nah, man, that ain't C. Yes, it is. No, it ain't neither. Don't sound like it. But I'm telling him, what sounds like, but that's not my profession. I know nothing about it. So, here Jesus is telling Peter, a carpenter, he built houses. Peter's a fisherman. That's his trade. That's what his family did. They fished for a living. Jesus' family was carpenters. They built houses and tents for a living. So now Jesus is telling Peter how to catch fish. So Peter like, look, man, let's keep this real. Can I do my own word? Let's keep this real, dog. You don't know nothing about fishing. Because first of all, if you knew anything about fishing, you would know that we ain't finna catch nothing in the daytime. Because let's just talk, dog. You know, hey, dog, let's talk. Okay? Now, let me tell you a little bit about my trade. How I know that if I launch out, it's just going to mess my net up, and I'm going to have to get back out here and mend my net because I'm going to catch a whole lot of trash and no fish. And it's going to tear up my net again, and I'm going to have to mend my net all over again. Okay? The reason why we don't fish in the daytime, because fishes have no lids, eyelids. So therefore, they run from the sunlight. They come up at night, they go down day. They go down because it's a little darker, and they run from the light. So if they run from the light, and we fish with nets, we're not deep sea fishermen, even though we fish in the sea, but we ain't just a deep sea dish fishermen because we use net. We don't use no hook. We don't catch just one fish at a time. We catch a whole abundance. Okay, so now, if I launch out right now, you can get ready. I ain't going to catch nothing. That's basically what Peter was saying. I'm not going to catch nothing, Jesus. I'm not. It's not going to happen. In my professional opinion, I've been doing this for years. You know, so now Peter got a dilemma. I'm talking to us, right? Uses. Because this is the way we think. So now I got to make my mind up. And I'm faced with a challenge. Do I go against everything I've been taught? And do what Jesus is telling me to do? Or do I stay with what I've been taught and get prepared for a time that I know something should happen? Ooh, somebody gonna get with me in a minute. You know, and do this in a time that I know, with my professional opinion, that something is gonna happen if I do it the way I'm supposed to do it. Now, I've been doing it this way all my life, and it has helped me to survive. And because I've been doing this all my life, and this is my career, and I have learned how to work in my profession, and it has sustained me for X amount of years. Now you are telling me to go against everything I know. How many have gotten the word from the Lord and totally went against everything you know? How many have gotten the word from the Lord and it really just don't make no sense at all for you to do what God is telling you to do? How many have really got that word and you say, Lord, this don't make no sense? Why are you telling me to do something that don't make no sense? I don't understand. Why are you telling me to do this? And nothing going to become of it. Because Peter went on and told him, now look, Lord, I'm tired. I've been toiling all night. And my professional opinion says I should go ahead and get prepared for the night. So if I'm going to get prepared for the night, then I'm going to have to wash my nets. I'm going to have to mend them, and I'm going to have to get me some rest because I've been toiling all night. And my professional opinion let me know that if I'm going to catch any fish, it's going to have to be at night. So why would I want to do something that don't make no sense and I'm already tired? I already spent all the money that I had to go to work and make nothing. Now, Peter was like us when I was self-employed. We got paid every day. So every day we got paid, we utilized the money that we had got paid in order to take care of the next day, to make provision for the next day. So once we got paid, we would go refill up our truck, go get all our oil, take care of all of our maintenance on our stuff. If our truck needed something, we took care of it. If we needed a tire, our chainsaws need chain, we made sure that it was taken care of out of the funds that we had got for that day. And if we didn't get no funds for that day, most of the time we didn't have none, because we had already spent all the funds getting prepared for that day. So if we had toiled all day and made nothing, then our funds was limited for the next day. So we didn't want to waste nothing, taking a chance, and we knew that we wasn't going to catch nothing. Peter knew, he felt in his heart that he was not going to catch anything. I'm not going to catch nothing. So why would I want to waste my time doing something that I know I'm not going to have a harvest? Why would I want to waste my time spending that money? Take a chance on messing up my nets to the point that I might not even be able to mend them. You got to think from a professional level, from a professional point, that, hey, this is my job, so I got to protect it. Peter said, this is my job. This is what I do. Jesus. I respect you, Jesus, but this is what I do. You know, so I was talking with my sister on this morning, and I wanted to talk about her experience that she had on taking her nursing test. And she had taken the nursing test when she got out of school. She had taken it 3 times. And you got a certain amount of time that you would have to have taken the test and passed it once you get out of school. And she had taken the test 3 times. And she had already been out of school now for 4 years and 6 months. So the time frame, in order for her to pass the test, she was right there at it. So she had made her mind up that she wasn't taking the test no more. She said, this ain't for me. I'm throwing in a towel on that. I basically went to school for nothing. So I'm not even worried about trying to pass this test because I already took it 3 times. I'm just throwing away money. Because each time she took it, she had to pay $300. So she said, I'm done with that. It wasn't for me. I tried it. It wasn't for me. So maybe it was just something I wanted to do and not something God wanted to bless me in doing. So she said, okay, I'm going back to doing hair because hair was her profession. I'm going back to doing hair. So she went back to doing hair. For the next 4 years, she did hair. Okay? So she said, the Holy Ghost spoke to her and told her to take the test. Now, this totally went against everything she ever did, because the fact that in order for her to take that test, she had to get prepared. And she didn't have enough time to really get prepared to take the test in that time frame that God told her to take the test. Because now time is short. She only got like a month. And if you know in the medical field, all that stuff, man, you got to, they tell you how to go about taking a test. She said you have to have stuff plastered all over the walls, notes everywhere, because there's so much you got to learn and so much you got to know. You got to know how to take the shots. You got to know about different medications. You got to know what happens when you give a person this or you give a person that. You got to know all about the skin, all that kind of stuff. She just got to know a whole lot of stuff. And she didn't have time to do all that studying. So she said, first of all, she started rebuking it. Said, this right here is the devil. Just want me to throw away some money. She started rebuking the devil. Said, devil, Satan, I rebuke you. That's $300 that I don't have, and I know if I don't study, I'm not going to pass the test. And she said, I don't have $300 to give away because I don't have time to study. So she was like, Satan, God rebuke you. She said, she went on, kept on doing her. She said, next day, Holy Ghost spoke to her again. Say, go sign up to take the test. Now she said, now it's been a while. And I used to really know God's voice. And she said, this right here sounds just like God's voice. But she said, the fact that I haven't studied for the test, it couldn't be God. It must be the devil. But what she did was, she said, I'm going to go ahead on, I'm going to sign up for the test. But she didn't want to tell nobody she was signing up for the test because she didn't want nobody knowing that she done failed this test for the 4th time. Because she didn't feel like she was going to pass it. And she said, I'm not going to study for this test because, number one, I don't have enough time. She said, so I ain't going to even worry about studying. I'm going to go ahead on, sign up for the test, pay my money. And I ain't gonna, she said, if it's God, I'm going to pass the test. If it ain't God, I'm going to fail the test. But she said, at least one way or the other, I know that wasn't God's voice speaking, and I know next time that, hey, this ain't of God. You know? So she said, because it's pressing on me, I'm going to go ahead on, I'm going to sign up for the test. But she didn't have no help to help her to sign up for the test. And she said she was not computer savvy. So she was like, had first of all try to figure out how to go in there and how to figure out how to sign up for the test. And she said she got in there, she figured it out, how to sign up for the test, and she said right after she figured out how to sign up for the test, her computer went on the blank. So therefore she didn't know how to fix the computer. Like happened to be sometimes. Okay, so she didn't know how to fix it, but she had no Sister Lambert. I got Sister Lambert. You know what I'm saying? And she IT savvy. So I don't worry about that. But anyhow, she said the computer went on the blank right after she got signed up. So she couldn't go back in there and delete it and say, oh, I changed my mind. Because the computer went blank and she didn't know how to fix it. So she said, no matter what, now I'm going to have to take tests. So she went on, took the test on February 29th, 28th. She took the test. And she said when she got in there to take that test, it was harder than the other 3 tests that she had took. So while she was taking the test, she knew, I ain't going to pass this test. But she said God was just telling her everything to put down. And she said the thing about it is the question was even harder because you couldn't just pick out one thing. You had to pick out everything that applied. So if you didn't pick out everything that applied, you still missed the question. So she said that test was hard. It was harder than any test she had taken. To make a long story short, she said she took the test on the 28th. She passed it on the 29th. But since her computer had went blank, she didn't have nowhere to go in there to find out she had passed the test. So, she was so embarrassed, she didn't want to tell nobody she had took the test because she didn't want nobody to know she had took it again and failed it. So she wouldn't ask nobody to help her to go in there and figure out if she passed the test. So now here it is over in March. And she said finally around March the 19th, she got up enough guts to call her sister, Rachel, that's in the medical profession, that is a nurse already, to go in there because she knew how to go in there and to see if whether or not she had passed the test. So Rachel said, okay, give me a few minutes. She went in there and she said, "Oop, you got a nurse's number. That means you passed the test." She said, "Huh?" She said, "Yes. They have given you your nurse's number. So you passed the test." So now here it is almost a month later. And she had already passed the test. And she didn't find out till almost a month later that God had already worked that thing out on her behalf. Because she didn't feel like, with her expertise, and it went against everything that she had been taught and trained, that I really passed that test. She was trained in how to go about studying for the test. Just like Peter, he was already trained in how to go about catching fish. So therefore, I know, Lord, that what you're telling me to do is not going to work. But nevertheless, look at somebody and tell them, say, nevertheless. Nevertheless, at your word. That's what faith got to kick in. Her faith didn't kick in, so she went a whole month almost and could have been working somewhere. Her employment had run out and she could have been working, but because she didn't feel like, how many know it ain't about a feeling? She didn't feel like she had passed the test. She didn't really feel like that was God speaking. And because the test was much harder, she didn't think she had passed it. But it's not about what we think. It's not about our knowledge. And oh yeah, also something else she said when she was saying that and God told her, I don't need your help. When God get ready to do something for us, he don't need our help to do it. He just need us to do it. And have the faith to know that if he said it, it's going to work. You furnish the faith, I'll do the work. Look at somebody and tell them, say, if you furnish the faith, God will do the work. And when God do it, it's going to be what? Big. It's going to be big. It's going to blow your mind. Somebody getting ready to have a mind-blowing experience. But it goes against everything you know, everything you've been taught, every decision you could make. It totally goes against it. But God's getting ready to blow your mind. And what God is getting ready to do is going to be massive. It's going to be great. Because the Bible said he took in what? A great multitude of fishes. Woo! I wish I could get somebody to go with me right there. And if I could get enough people that already know that, hey, it goes totally against the grain. But nevertheless, at your word. Everything that I'm doing right now, Lord, is hanging on your word. Every move that I'm making right now, Lord, is hanging on your word. It's hanging on what you said, not what I said. Because if I said it, I wouldn't be doing it. Because it totally goes against everything I've been taught, everything I've been trained, everything I know. It totally goes against that. But what you got to understand that God don't need your help. He don't care what you've been taught. He don't care how you feel. Because this thing is not predicated on a feeling. This thing is predicated on God's word. And he don't care what you think. Because our thoughts is as far away from God's thoughts as the night is from the day. And what I like about what the word say, if he said it, it said, if he said it, then you can rest for sure that he's not a man that he should lie. He's not a man that he should have need to repent. Whatever he said, he's man enough, he's able enough, got enough experience enough to do whatever he said. And if he said launch out, launch out. If he said move, move. If he say this is your time, this is your time. If he say this is your season, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. I'm like, Bishop, get ready. Get ready for a move that's gonna blow your mind. In spite of what you think, in spite of what you taught, in spite of whatever you ever thought this situation looked like. And when you say nevertheless, it says regardless. Oh, y'all ain't gonna help me. Regardless of what I feel, regardless of what it looked like, regardless of what I've been trained to do, regardless of the know-how that I already know how to do. I already know how to fish. I already know you ain't gonna catch nothing in the day. If you do it, it ain't gonna be of no good, because all the good fish that went deep. But see, what Peter didn't know is that God made the fish. And if he made the fish, then he know how to speak to the fish. Somebody need to go back over there to Jonah when he spoke to the fish, brought the fish up out of the deep and told the fish, go over there and swoop up my servant Jonah, because I need to train him. I need to show him something. And God is saying to us today that I need to show you something. I need to show you that when I said I'm man enough to perform exactly what I said, and all I need you to do is say, nevertheless. Is there anybody in the house that's willing to say, nevertheless? I don't care what it look like. I don't care what you're going through. I don't care what the devil done said. But you got to understand that I serve a God that can do anything but fail. And all he needs you to do is say, nevertheless. You have to come to a conclusion. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Y'all going a little too fast there for me. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. He told him. He said, nevertheless, at your word. Because if you let me speak, if you let me speak, then I'm going to tell you it ain't going to happen. If you let me speak, I'm going to tell you to pop them pills. If you let me speak, I'm going to tell you go back to that doctor. It ain't about what you feel. You get your butt on back to that doctor, because the doctor done said that you need to do this and you need to do that. But what did God say? And if God said it, stand on whatever he said. A brother called me the other day, and the brother said, what would you do? I said, now brother, you don't want to go with what I might do, because I look at things slightly different from the way you look at things, because I am in a different mindset than what you are, because I know that I serve a God that can do anything but fail. And you might not be there yet. So since you ain't there yet, you go on back to the doctor. If God ain't spoke to you and told you what to do, don't go on what I say. You better get on back to that doctor. Because you ain't going to never be laying up in the hospital bed about to die and say,